What's up? Welcome back to the Marketing Millennials podcast. Today I have Rachel from Wunderkind on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here. My name is Rachel Waldstein. I am our VP of our Global Strategic Consulting team here at Wunderkind. Wunderkind is one of the world's largest identity graphs for consumer devices. Our ID graph has about 9 billion consumer devices, which can oversee about 2 trillion consumer interactions. And with our autonomous marketing platform, we are redefining the agentic marketing decisioning, bringing identity to meet AI and delivering increased revenue through personalization across channels, turning that anonymous traffic into known consumers. And my team's job here at Wunderkind is really to help our clients understand how Wunderkind's data and technology can bring their brand's desired consumer experiences to life with the strongest elements of AI, data-driven decision-making, and personalization, which brings my experience on the retail side with my love of consumer technology together. So it's sort of the best of both worlds for me, having about a little over 13 years of client-side marketing and MarTech experience that I bring to Wunderkind.
Everybody who's listening, if you can, that was a great way to distill a pitch down. So of like who you are in 30 seconds. So thank you for telling us who you are. I want to start of how should marketers think about the balance between personalization and privacy in 2025?
Yeah, it's definitely a delicate balance. And it goes without saying that on the privacy side, you have to be up to date on the laws and the privacy regulations and what the big guys are doing. What is Apple doing? What is Google doing? You need to know those sorts of things and work within those parameters. And then, you also need to deliver a personalized experience. So you need to know what data consumers are making available to you. What are they telling you about, their behaviors, what they're completely willing to give up and share. Consumers are willing to share so much information with us, and it's about using that to drive their experiences, not about digging a little bit deeper and getting to details that they're not interested in sharing.
Yeah, I love that. I think in this day and age, the consumer and your audience wants a personalized experience. They don't want to just get random stuff in the inbox that doesn't relate to them. So they're willing to give you pieces of information to help their experience better. But like you said, also on the privacy side, us marketers need to know the laws of what we are allowed to keep. Also, when for example, when iOS made the change from 28 days to 7 days, like how it will affect our tracking of our audiences. So all these things we need to know as a marketing team to understand our audience better, but also understand how to keep that trust, because audience is willing to give up information. There has to be a level of trust to do that. So, and you're not going to gain trust if you're just going to disregard privacy.
Yeah. And I think you made a really good point with what metrics are we tracking and how do we, open rate, when Apple made that change several years ago, open rate is now, it's a directional metric. We could have put a lot of energy into going deeper and getting true open rates. But as marketers, it's about shifting what you're looking at and understanding what is the next best KPI to monitor, and how do you understand where consumers are going within that. And then, like you said, as you go to build trust with your consumer base, they're going to give you more and more information if you prove to them that you are making their experience better and better. That is tried and true, especially in the CRM space. Consumers will give up quite a bit if you are going to use that in a way that helps aid their experience.
I want to go into one of the most important data resource in, I think, 2025, and it has, I think, been the most important to collect for the last few years, but that's first-party data. How should brands best collect this data, and how can they activate it in their personalization, in their marketing, et cetera?
I think it's one, marketers being aware of what is first party data, and making sure that you have a holistic view on, that is a consumer's behavior on site. It is their shopping behavior, their account preferences, their channels that they've opted in and out of, anything that they're willing to or behavior they're willing to exhibit. And so using that data, combined with your analytics team to say, what are the behaviors that exist within that? How do we go and bring that to life in a way that aligns with the brand experience that we want and a journey consumers are willing to take with our brand? That is how you use first party consumer data in a way that is so impactful and effective for you and the consumer.
What are some ways you see people, your like when people come to Wunderkind and or come to in the market using data the wrong way? What are some mistakes marketers make, either not using it to the full potential or just plain out mistakes that they're making?
Yeah, I see a lot of times marketers using consumer data to drive a behavior that they want their consumers to exhibit over a behavior that consumers are willing to take. Building on an existing behavior is a million times easier than creating a behavior out of your consumer base. And so when marketers force their consumers down a path that they're uninterested in, it's ineffective for both parties. And that is the biggest mistake, is they see like a small glimmer of hope or a direction their brand wants to head that is misaligned with their actual shopper. And they put, brands put too many resources into that direction, or, we're going to back out of promotions entirely, which is, a absolute desired state of so many brands, but that's not a place consumers are willing to go right now. And so making sure that you're using the consumer signals of what are my click-through rates on what level of promotion, and what are the ASPs or AOVs that my consumers are shopping at today, and using that data to say, okay, where are they? And then where can I realistically get them to meet me is the biggest, hurdle of marketers today is that desired state versus reality.
Yeah. And I think it has definitely gotten a lot easier now that we have AI at our hands. Absolutely. That can predict or not only do those one-off, hey, we need to send a promotion on our email channel at this time. Like maybe this portion of our audience, not even our list, our audience wants email communication. This prefers SMS. This prefers another desired communication, and we need it. AI will help orchestrate that. But that also brings me to the next question of like, so many brands are relying on one channel for like their performance, and we are now in a age where it is very omni-channel, where you need to show up in different channels to stay ahead of your customers, make sure you're top of mind. So I just want to know, like, why has that become like the future of performance marketing?
Yeah, I remember early in my career when you would construct an email welcome journey, and you would tell, I was working at StrideRite at the time, the kids shoe brand, and we would construct this like 11 touch story, explaining to the consumer the value of our product, the history of our brand, and each touch delivered a different value add. And it was naive then, but it would be completely naive now to think that consumers were absolutely just logging in and so excited to hear every part of the StrideRite consumer journey through the 11 touch email series. We are now constructing our journeys with the understanding that consumers, they maybe opted into email and opted into SMS and seeing us on social. And if we want to tell that brand story or that product story, we need to do it in a way that is succinct, because we are getting very little of their attention, and cohesive, regardless of the order that they choose to engage with us in. So the text could go first, the social could go first, the email could go first, and you could only see touch 4 of 7 of the email. but you need to get it every time that you're there. So that omni-channel experience and thinking through, how do I deliver this product message succinctly, cohesively, and engaging across all of these channels is such a challenge today for marketers, where before you had so much space to deliver that holistic story, and now you got to do it really quickly with the objective of getting them to your site so that you can tell the rest of the story. And that is the reality today.
Yeah, it's crazy to think as like a consumer, like that thing that got you to bought could have been like touch 15 of their cycle of like, they could have been retargeting you. That could have been the SMS, and you opened it and that was just the right time, but you needed that 15 touch points to get you over the line. But everybody just relies, oh, I sent 2 emails, like 5 emails, they didn't open. I'm done with that person. Or I'm not trying different channels to get them. I'm only going to keep them on this email sequence. It's just crazy to think about what touch was I when I converted on that marketing that brand did for me.
Yeah, and that's the really exciting part of all these AI experiences, both in what channels are firing and what frequency, but what story is best for you. As the marketer now, I just need to develop the content that tells the most engaging story and has a story for my audience, or audiences and segments. And AI can now select for you what is that product. So I don't need to get lucky that you're going to click on touch 5, which happens to have the product story that is best for you. AI can aid me in that creation.
Also, one thing I want to ask you is, what do you see as like the next big shift in paid social in the next few years?
I think it's about identity and bringing together. Right now we treat a lot of consumers the same on paid social. Yes, there's targeting and we're selecting our audiences, but within that very large audience pool, consumers have different values to different brands. And so the opportunity to adjust your spend and your frequency against the value that consumer delivers to your brand, or the likelihood that they're going to engage, or where they are within their consumer journey, that technology exists. And we are just starting to test into, how does that work? And how do I align as a retailer? How do I align that to my marketing budgets and my financial plans, and all of those different elements that play a huge role in how much money I'm spending with Meta and what my email frequency is, and all of those different pieces. So I think that's the real, for me, and where I sit, that's a really exciting part, to say we no longer need to treat these large groups of people exactly the same on social platform, or everybody that visits our site or visits a certain part of our site identically as they go along their consumer journey.
I want us to get specific on one channel, because I know you all launched Meta integration recently, and why now was the right moment to launch that for your audience and your consumer base?
Yeah, I think it's a natural progression of where Wunderkind is, right? We do an incredible job driving, over $5 billion of revenue for our clients through our email and text channels. And so the opportunity to take that level of known consumers and turning that unknown traffic into a consumer that the brand can identify, and saying, hey, this is Rachel. She came from one of your brand social campaigns, and she looks like do you know Rachel? Oh, she's a really valuable consumer. Rachel is worth an extra couple dollars on Meta, and 3 email touches to get her to convert, versus, hey, here's somebody else. They came through an affiliate channel. They're likely to buy. They're going to buy a clearance product. Just run your standard remarketing, but don't overspend on them. And so it's about bringing that logic that we have, and that experience that we have on email and text into the next channel where marketers are spending a lot of their money.
So what problem does this integration solve for marketers right now? Like, I know that you said the identify the audience, but what is the big problem that it's trying to solve?
It's about setting the right journey. So it's about, like I mentioned before, taking that consumer that right now our big differentiation is prospect. So somebody who's come to your site and never made a purchase before, versus customer. right now within Meta, most brands are treating those consumers exactly the same. A customer is probably engaged in email, maybe getting direct mail, getting text messages. A prospect, probably not. And so now brands can say, I'm willing to spend more against this group. That is a huge shift in the way that marketers think about their budget. Think about how much money they're spending and what returns they're expecting today, and then over the customer's lifetime with them through social channels.
I know a lot of people have integrations with Meta. Like a lot of tech partners have this like a lot of people who have been doing data and pushing data to Meta. But what makes us different than other MarTech partners out there?
Yeah, it's the identity graph. It's that 9 billion consumer devices that and 2 trillion interactions that we can bring to the table. It is about you knowing who your consumer is at a much higher rate. And therefore, it's not about, it's about hitting everybody that hits this product page with this remarketing message. It's about talking about these people or consumers who exhibit this behavior or who have this opt-in status. Maybe you're going to spend differently against a consumer who is opted into email versus one who isn't on Meta. And Wunderkind provides you that capability.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is all about personalization and making the journey easier because some people want to get things on Facebook and say the people who opt in an email might need more educational content versus to get them through the line versus someone that came to your website might need more of a different type of content, let's say UGC or something like that. Everybody needs different content. You could kind of serve that with knowing where if you just spend against a random audience, you might just play the guessing game, which a lot of marketers are doing right now is, hey, I'm just going to put this ad and creative ad and see who's going to convert. Where if you know at least a portion of the audience, you know what to serve them at what time and what type of creative and what not. Yeah.
And I think it's the best way to deliver a personalized experience is knowing who somebody is. Otherwise, to your point, they are a persona to the brand, and consumers, yes, fall within that persona, but you can only personalize to a certain degree at that scale. That identity resolution allows you to know so much more about your consumer and allows the AI to deliver a better experience for them and a better experience for your brand.
So could you walk me through, I want to upload or sync my audience to Meta Ads Manager. What would that process look like? How easy is it to do if I was using Wunderkind right now?
It's the same as if you were using any other integration. It's just about setting up your audiences on the Meta side. That's it. It's not more complicated than that.
Oh, that's good to know. It's always good to have more. So, and I like that you have the 9 billion people in your audience that you know. And the most important point I think you said a few minutes ago is the best way to deliver a personalized experience is knowing who you're delivering the experience to and knowing that person. And I think that's one of the hardest parts of marketing. That's one of the things that Wunderkind does well is there's so many people who come to your site that are interested that you have no idea who they are because you don't have the right technology to identify who they are. Mm-hmm. And they are lurkers. They might give their email soon, or they might be, but they're lurkers. And you want to be able to turn those lurkers into actual revenue, and which you do with a lot of your customers right now.
Yeah. It's the fastest way to, if you think about any experience that you've had with any appointment, the best way to get the best experience from the brand is for them to know who you are, whether that's when you're calling to make a haircut or a doctor's appointment or anything like that. It's the sooner they know who you are on the phone, the sooner they're able to get you the information that you need. Retail is exactly the same way. the sooner that the retailer is able to identify who the consumer is and identify what their end state goal is, or is, that's the fastest way to deliver that personalized consumer journey and deliver the outcome.
Do you have any like use case or example of someone that used this meta audience that saw like a different result than using some other MarTech partners?
I don't off the top of my head, but I'm sure that we can follow up and get you a case study.
If we do, we'll add it. We'll let people know. And last question I have for you is, I ask everybody in this podcast is, what is a marketing hill you would die on?
I think it's that first question that you asked around the difference between, or like that privacy and personalization, and how far can you go, which is, just, or that piece. And you can't get a consumer to exhibit a behavior that they're not willing to exhibit.
I love that. I think,
build on that. Like, don't expect them to do something that they're not willing to do.
I love that, because I think the best marketers I know are audience focused, not business focused. And when you become audience focused, you do things that are best for your audience. When you're business focused, you're trying to only hit those metrics that you're trying to hit. So like, I want to increase open rates. And even if that means spamming my audience, or I needed more open rates, even if that means I'm going to do a clickbaity subject. I know I need more clicks, so I'm going to put more CTAs in the email just to like game the system. There's all these ways to game the system, instead of, hey, maybe that person wants this type of email, that type of email, or I want to deliver it this time or that time, or this person might not even want an email, they want an SMS. It's so much better to just know where your customer wants something and give it to them when they need it, instead of forcing marketing down their throat.
Yeah, I think that is, and the marketing is, that's the journey to get the customer to exhibit the behavior that you're looking for. So previously in my past life, so working for footwear brands, we would love brand or consumers to shop with our brands all 4 seasons, to buy a sneaker, a boot, a casual, and a sandal with us as we go. But the reality is that our consumers saw our brand in one part of their life. And so the best behavior that we were able to get them to exhibit was buying a second pair of the first pair that they bought, to refresh that, or maybe upgrade it. So go from the 16 model to the 17, or the latest, fashion, color, style, whatever it was, adding a heel to last year's shoe. And so it was that end goal in mind that allowed us to construct marketing journeys that delivered that experience. And then adding on, okay, what is their channel preference? What is their discount expectation? And when are they willing to shop? Because the reality was, talking to consumers who bought winter boots about sandals was, it was good and sort of brand awareness, but it very, very rarely led to a conversion.
Yeah. And I know now you could just prompt AI and say, like, here are my constraints. Here are the things that I want in this campaign. This is my discount constraints. This is my preferences. And then the AI just does it for you. So I love that the new age is getting way easier for marketers to be able to do this. And lastly, where can people find you and what Wunderkind is doing?
So wunderkind.co is the best place to see what we are releasing. We have a really exciting product roadmap with a bunch of releases upcoming. The meta audience is one, being my personal excitement. And find me on LinkedIn. My name is Rachel Waldstein.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for doing what you do. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.